What's up, guys?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away.
Sometimes I get here a little bit later. Oh, thanks for the bits. I didn't even see that. Thank you. Savage. Appreciate it. I wasn't paying attention. What's up, guys? Welcome. Yeah, let's roll the intro.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. What's up? How's it going? Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I appreciate you being here. There is some news. There's some I don't even know why that was playing. There's some super interesting news, at least to me. I'm kind of a nerd, right? I like drone stuff. I like war footage when I can stand to watch it. I like stuff like that. And Ukraine has pulled off an incredible attack that I think they said was like almost a year in the making. So you guys know what a Connex is, or a what else would they call them? There's another word for them. Like a shipping container. A shipping container, right? They can go on like trucks, they go on trains, they go on everything, right? So Ukraine has shipping containers. Basically everything everywhere is shipped in shipping containers. That's actually one reason that our local railroad shut down. There's so much traffic through shipping containers that our local railroad shut down because we have too many tunnels that wouldn't fit double stack shipping containers, right? So Ukraine has pulled off a pretty amazing thing. Hold on, let's do this. We're going to draw it. So like a shipping container obviously is a box. And it's got the corrugated sides or whatever, right? They're like, the sides come down and they are like corrugated. Like you'll see a bunch of lines all the way down, right? Anyways, that's what they look like. They took these shipping containers that were mounted on trucks. They put a false top that slides out, powered by solar panels, okay? So the top of this slides out by solar panels. And then underneath this false, it was probably, I don't know, like 8 inches deep or so. Underneath this, they had a structure, and they had drones packaged in this false top. So that this part of the shipping container is open, right? You can put anything you want to in it. Underneath this false top, it was drones, okay? Stationed with explosives. Some of these strikes were like 4,000 miles into Russia or some shit, like insane amounts. So at a specified time, all at the same time, the solar panels that were on the roof were collecting power to, I'm assuming, like batteries, right? So you got wires run over to a battery. At a specified time, 4,300 kilometers. Gotcha. At a specified time, the roof opened. The drones took off, and they parked these at all kinds of bases, some of them way in mainland Russia, but at bases where their strategic bombers were. So where their big bombers were, right? The long flight, heavy payload bombers were. And in aviation, everything comes down to like inspection. Like you can get deadlined. You can deadline an aircraft, like take it out of commission for like a loose bolt. So you can imagine what a drone with 3, 4, 5 pounds of explosives could do to an airplane, okay? It's probably put it out of commission for months and months and months if it doesn't scrap the actual frame, the airframe of the airplane. We saw them attacking airplanes like this before. Like, all they have to do is like hit a wing section. They don't have to be super precise. Hit a wing section, right? Blow a hole in a wing section. That motherfucker's out of the game for months and months and months. And what did you lose? I don't know, $1,000 drone and some explosive. It's really interesting. And this is almost as good as the, as bad as I hate Israel. The pager thing was pretty fucking wild, right? We can admit that. Where they hit explosives in pagers. This is wild. They loaded these up on trucks. So these would be on a trailer, right? And they'd be a couple set of tires. They loaded these up on tractor and trailers, and shipped them into Russia, right? As if they were legitimate trade. And they parked near bases, not close enough to bases where they'd get like inspected and be like, why has that truck been parked here for 2 days or whatever? But close enough to where it was in range of the drones. And they just dropped the trailer. And it sat there until all the trailers were in place and they were ready to launch this. So it's like a put it and forget it thing. Even if Russia would have would have found one of these and said, oh my God, there's a fake panel on the roof and there's drones in there and took it out, right? Let's say that happened. What are they going to do? Check every fucking truck in Russia now? Like, even if they'd have found one of these and be like, oh, we busted them. Now they got to check every fucking truck in Russia? Are you shitting me? There's no way. So this is wild. This comes on the back of Russia and Ukraine right now are doing a couple things. They've been really good at jamming, or they're developing technology that's getting better. I wouldn't say really good. It's getting better at jamming signals used for drones, right? I think these were already pre-programmed flight plans, but we'll see. So they've been jamming signals for drones. So both sides have been using fly-by-wire. Like, the drone literally drags behind it. When I was in the Army, we fired the TOW missile. It is a missile you launch that drags out a fucking wire behind it, and you can drive it after you launch it, okay? Same thing with a drone, except it's easier because it's not as fast as a fucking missile. So they've been using fly-by-wire. One of the problems with fly-by-wire, though, or drones in general, is like they can't loiter, right? When we have aircraft that loiter, they just fly around an area, right? They just hang out until they see an enemy and they're like, oh, engage the enemy. Drones don't have the battery capacity to loiter. My FPV drone, like 10, 15 minutes of flight max. If I'm like raising hell with it, like flying like 100 miles an hour around, it's probably like 6-7 minutes for the battery overheats and I got to bring it back down. So they don't loiter very well. So what they've been doing, I watch this. I know I haven't shown it that much on the show, but I watch this in my off time. What they have been doing is putting the camera into low power mode, which is like a DJI thing. It doesn't use as much power. They're using fly-by-wire, okay? So a copper wire behind it. And they've just been parking them off the side of roads and just laying there and just watching through the goggles. And eventually what happens is a truck will come along, a military vehicle, a truck, a APC, a tank, something. Then they'll take off and chase down the truck. They'll get up, they'll identify the target, they'll look for any other targets, they'll chase down the truck. There's a bunch of footage of that. So both sides have gone away from jamming now because they're using fly-by-wire. You can't jam a wired signal, right? Unless you cut the wire. That's it. But both sides have been making these like netted, almost like Quonset huts, like the shape, right? Like the problem is you can't do this everywhere, but they've been going to the roads and like, let's say this is the road. They've been taking main roads and putting these giant hoops over top of them, right? And then netting between the hoops to get rid of drones. The problem is you can't do this everywhere. Like obviously the vehicle drives us through here. You can't do this everywhere. You just can't do it everywhere. I've also seen them. They're now digging foxholes. So some of the foxholes, let's say you got a berm going here, and then like a big berm for the foxhole, and then like a berm going here, and this is your ground level. So obviously you're going to have some type of hole cut out here to go into this foxhole, and let's say there's trenches or whatever. You have some kind of hole cut out here. They're taking and building hooches, a hooch off of it, and then they're using chain link fence or something to cover the entrances, front and side. And drone pilots are just getting better. Like, there's been a lot talking about how good drone pilots are, and that is kind of true. They are good drone pilots for just being soldiers. But this might actually be my calling, dude. This might actually be my calling. Let me show you me flying an FPV drone. I think I have a recent video, maybe. Maybe this is what I was made for. And then we'll watch one of their videos. I thought I had a pretty recent one where I was flying around the fucked up campground. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I know. Oh, here we go. Like, I could definitely fly through some of the places that they're currently flying through. Absolutely, 100%, 100%, and I could probably do it about twice as fast. This is me flying around the campground. This isn't sped up. This is just real speed. It's probably moving, I don't know, 40 miles an hour or so, maybe with bursts up to like 50, 60. Doing backflips, going through some of this damaged area. We go through here in a second through this walkway. Around the Mini X, through I could fly through. If you give me a hole about 16 inches by 16 inches, I could fit a goddamn drone and explosive through it. This might be my new calling. Maybe this is pretty impressive. Under the wire, through the tape, out the other side, clean. Like I'm pretty sure this might be my calling. Because we're going to watch some of their drone flying, which the guy's bragging about. I agree. For like a regular soldier, pretty fucking sweet. But for like, if they want to start hiring pilots, let's see, Preston, isn't that guy's name Preston Stewart? If they're looking for freelance pilots, look out. I know I just saw one of his videos about netting. It was one of them about netting and something else. Sorry, it'll take me a second to find it. Drone wall project? I don't think that's it. Here's one. This is one of the fly-by-wire ones. See how they're waiting on the side of the road? They were waiting on the side of the road for that truck to come through. Let me get some audio.
FPV, first-person view drones. Harder
Chase it back down.
When they're on the ground, especially when they're wire-guided, because they can't be jammed with traditional electronic warfare equipment. So,
like, I would have already hit that truck. I'd already hit that fucking truck.
Both sides do this. They land along a busy route like this. They wait for a vehicle to come by. When it does, you pick up, identify the target, and then move in for the kill. In this one in particular, the Russian drone does strike home. But I also wanted to show another clip here of a Ukrainian drone operator.
All right, so this guy is the one he brags about how good he is. Dude, I could have done this in a quarter of the time.
Also has a wire tailing from it. So, the concern of do those get hung up in trees or telephone poles? Technically they could, but the wire's loose enough. Look at this, navigating through the wood line.
All right, so he gets up to this door and he sees that there's like a chain link fence here. There's like chicken wire or something.
And then...
Right, see the wire? So he backs off of it. But look how long it takes him to navigate around the other way.
Yeah, so the drone operator, look how calm, cool, and collected this guy.
It's like, oh, well, I guess we go over here, maybe.
Have warhead attached here. Just comes around the side.
Bro, I'd already been in there.
Directly.
I'd already been in there amongst them, dude.
Into the Russian dugout. It's crazy. These guys are hitting anything, anywhere along the front. All right, I want to show you guys a couple videos here, kind of some updates to the drone war in Ukraine. This first one here is actually a Russian.
Somebody let me fly a drone into Russia. That would be amazing. Where is the... That's the one we just watched. I wonder where the one... Actually, I don't know if we'll see that or not. Down to just watched. Where's the just watched one? Okay, right there. Here's another one. Drones and tanks.
Russian tanks can run, but they can't hide, at least not for very long, not from Ukrainian drone operators. This is a wire-guided FPV drone, so fiber optic cable, finding a Russian tank parked underneath this structure here, hidden, right, not out there in the open. And watch how careful and deliberate
Damn, those are ammo.
Is in trying to find just the right.
Those are ammo crates too, right there. It's gonna be a big explosion.
Not there. Maybe there's another spot. Takes his time to find exactly where he can strike this tank to cause maximum damage and take it out with one hit. And we'll see that in a minute because we'll zoom out and we'll see that this entire building under
It's at the turret rings they use the weak spot.
flames. Looks like a lot of ammo crates nearby, so that probably is going to help the cause. You can see right where the driver has a little bit of a view here. Looks like that chain is up, coming right in, finds a gap straight into the hatch.
Maybe.
You've done the trick. Again, there's the building smoking from underneath.
Maybe he got in the hatch. Maybe he didn't.
Pretty clearly
That's pretty thin.
destroyed that and probably set off some ammunition in the process. These drone pilots are crazy good. So Russian tanks can run, but they can't
I agree.
hide. At least not.
I agree. They're good. I just think that I could do better. Okay? I just think that I could do better. Maybe I couldn't. Maybe I would. Maybe I'd fucking freak out under pressure. I don't know. But man, I would love to try. I like to try. And I always have a soft spot in my heart for Bradleys.
We've got a clip of a Ukrainian Bradley taking on a
Bradley,
tank near Ed.
Russian tank.
I'm going to pause this real quick.
So a tank has bigger armor, bigger gun. They're slower. Okay. A tank can absolutely destroy a Bradley like that, right? They have heavier armor, but they're slower. They don't go as many places. A Bradley, more maneuverable, only has a 25 millimeter main gun. It's a Bushmaster 25 millimeter chain gun on it. Faster fire rate, quicker maneuvering, a lot less armor. A lot less armor. When we traditionally use Bradleys against tanks, we do like hunter-killer teams. So the Bradleys go ahead a little ways. They pop out over a dune or behind a mountain or whatever. They look for tanks and try to draw their fire and then fall back. And then we run our tanks up to kill their tanks. So this would be interesting to see a Bradley versus a tank.
Starting out here, we've got a clip of a Ukrainian Bradley taking on a Russian tank near Avdiivka. I'm going to pause this real quick. The big issue here, and you've got the Ukrainian Bradley with the Ukrainian
And then tank here.
and the Russian T-90 tank near the Russian flag on the screen. They're engaging each other at barely 20, 30 meters distance. The reason that this is so significant is the Bradley is an infantry fighting vehicle. It is not a tank. T-90 is Russia's most modern tank that is taking part in the war in Ukraine. So seeing these go head-to-head should have been a clear victory for the T-90, but that's
The only chance is if the Bradley can... So the turret's not that fast, right? If a Bradley can catch the turret in the wrong direction and run up behind him, so flank him, basically, flank his gun, and put some fire on the turret ring immediately.
not quite how things turned out. Pay attention.
But if that tank gets a chance to fire at that Bradley, it is going all the way through it. It is going all the way through that motherfucker and not even slowing down.
To the mobility and the speed and the accuracy of the Ukrainian Bradley. Here we go. So again, very, very close range, and the
But Bradleys are so fucking quick
able to be
compared to tanks.
this, and they
See, the tank's shooting the wrong way. Did you just see them shoot? They're shooting down this road. Hold on.
These go head to head should have been a clear victory for the T-90.
They're flanking the tank with it.
Pay attention to the mobility and the speed and the accuracy of the Ukrainian Bradley. Here we go. So again, very, very close range.
The tank is shooting this way down the road. You'll see it.
And the Ukrainian crew was able to...
There it goes again. Boom.
And they said at one point they realized their armor-penetrating rounds weren't going through the T-90's armor, so they adjusted tactics. They went after some of the optics on the T-90. You can see how that played out.
Now it's swinging around.
Here, with the Russian tank completely losing control, spiraling off.
The Russian tank, the weaknesses on a tank are usually the turret ring, and especially Russian tanks usually have their auto-loader magazine as part of the rear of the turret.
Into the distance, running into a tree.
Damn, they are fucked.
Some of the crew members disembark, and I believe at least one of them was captured. That T-90 right there, disabled by the M2 Bradley and the Ukrainian crew from the...
They did get fucked there.
Was eventually finished off here with an FPV drone, and that...
Hell yeah, get them, baby.
Moment, if
boom,
destroyed, significantly damaged and out of the fight for Russia. So again, the reason this is so significant is we know that Bradleys are not made. Even our SOP, we don't fight Bradleys against tanks, right? If you have to shoot at a tank, it should be while you're scrambling somewhere to get to cover, get down. A lot of times we use hills. So if there's an elevation change where we can run up and get right over the hill and look, and then get back down behind the hill. But even the U.S. military does not train to like shoot tanks with Bradleys, right? It's just too it's too lightly armored. Can take on T-72 tanks, some of the older Soviet and Russian tanks. We saw that during the first Gulf War, during the second Gulf War at times. Bradleys don't have an issue with older tanks, but it wasn't really expected that they'd be able to go up against Russia's most modern main battle tank and put it out of commission and destroy it one-on-one like we saw in that clip. Starting out here, we've got a clip of...
Insane, bro. Anyways, let's talk about, it's called Operation Spiderweb. Let's see. I think I got footage here. Here's the footage of those trucks that they manufactured for the airstrikes.
Footage.
So see, the roof panel's already off, right? And there's a drone taking off out of the top of that truck.
Has been released showing the truck used for drone strikes on a military airfield in Russia's Irkutsk region. Videos shared on Telegram channels show drones taking off from the truck and heading toward the airfield. Shortly afterward, the truck was hit and set on fire. It is noted that strategic bombers used for attacks on Ukraine were destroyed during the assault on the airfield. The operation was organized and carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine.
All the smoke, targets they've hit.
Менты промазали нахуй. Ёбаный, он опять туда полетел, сука, в эту гущу нахуй.
This is a significant offensive. This might be the worst day of the war for Russia. Not to mention, did they launch all of their drones? Or are their trucks parked all? They'll have to worry about this, right? Even if they think this was all they had, they'll have to worry how many trucks are sitting in somewhere within range of Moscow.
Вот еще один, сука, пидорас. Вот он еще один пидорас. Вон эта хуета горит, машина с краю стояла нахуй, сука. Вот от нее коптеры полетели, в рот их ебать. Они тут сцепились нахуй. На этой стоянке, ебаный, на Валентинск нахуй. Вот, 4 или 5 коптеров я снимал, блядь. Они сначала уебались, там эти панели, нахуй, как бы эти, для солнечные. Что-то там они разбирались, нахуй, и, короче, все. И не стало никого, нахуй. И смотрю, блядь, один коптер взлетает, второй коптер взлетает, третий, четвертый, ебаный. И вон дым, нахуй. Это аэродром похоже, нахуй.
I wanted to see, there's also some videos of like the truck. They took some picture. So the reason a lot of people are like, well, Russia's like, or Ukraine's like putting out all this video and propaganda. Should they be doing that? Yes, absolutely they should. Because every time they have a successful attack, Russia comes out and says it didn't fucking happen. Russia comes out and says, no, we didn't lose anybody. No, there was an attack. This didn't. We need footage of it then.
Out a deep strike operation.
Here we go. Here's some of the airfields.
In a bold
The bomber's already smoking.
warfare capabilities, Ukraine's security service has carried
That's their long-range strategic bombers sitting there.
a deep strike operation that reportedly destroyed or damaged more than 40 Russian military aircraft in a single night, Ukrainian security sources told the Kiev Post. Codenamed Web, the covert mission targeted 4 major Russian airbases, Belia, Diaghilevo, Olynya, and Ivanova, hitting strategic bombers including 295s, 222 M3S, and even an A-50 early warning aircraft. This is a turning point, one SBU source said. Our drones are now reaching far into the enemy's rear, where the planes that drop bombs on our civilians take off. Their impunity is over. Video footage obtained by Kiev Post appears to show blazing fires and multiple explosions across airfields, including a...
They may have even hit a nuclear-powered submarine. They attacked one base that has those submarines there, and there was smoke reported coming from the base.
clip from Belia Air Base where a voice, allegedly SBU Chief
I don't think they've commented on this.
Lieutenant General...
They haven't even cleared up. They've been asked for direct statements multiple times about Donald Trump tweeting out that Joe Biden was fucking executed at Gitmo.
Maliak celebrates the strike as successful, Bavovna, a slang term for blasts on Russian-occupied ground. The operation, reportedly months in the making and personally overseen by Maliak, inflicted over $2.2 billion in losses to Russia's strategic aviation, according to preliminary Ukrainian internal assessments. Though the Russian Defense Ministry has not...
Oh, thank you for the bits. Appreciate it.
...commented, Ukrainian sources suggest the scale of destruction may grow as damage assessments continue. This marks one of the most ambitious drone operations conducted by Ukraine to date, underscoring the SBU's evolution from intelligence gathering to offensive capability. The strike also...
If you want to play FPV sims, I've got a few. There are 2 out there. One made by Russia and one by... Oh, I didn't know that. Ukraine Sim, Remote Reaper FPV drone. The RU is FPV Kamikaze drone. I run... What are the ones I use all the time? Here's my Steam. Let me open my library. I've played them on stream before. It's just, I guess people get bored and don't really watch. But in the winter, when I get like itching to get my drone out, it's just not good on the batteries, right? I use FPV Drone Simulator. That's one of them. There's another one, though, that's even better than that one. Liftoff. Liftoff is pretty good. I think it's Liftoff is the one that I prefer. Yeah. FPV Drone Simulator is not bad. I downloaded one of them just because it had a certain map that I wanted to play. But Liftoff's pretty good.
Delivers a start...
I didn't know they had ones that were from Ukraine and Russia. I have to look them up.
Ukrainian reach now extends deep into Russia's military heartland.
Я снял, прикинь. Друган, что за хуйня там? Дрон? Что за дрон? Украинский? А там что горит? Там что горит?
Я ебать, он на шиномонтажке работал. Там фура на солянку подъехала, с нее дроны разлетелись.
Да ты что?
Только что фура там стоит. Давай нахуй, поехали.
Look at everything smoking.
Да ужас, как страшно, вообще ужас.
The DJI one. So I have, before I started flying FPV, I was really worried about being able to fly FPV. I had flown airplanes before, but, you know, so I bought the DJI FPV drone, like their big ugly looking one. I bought it used, and I flew their simulator for a while just to get the hang of it. But yeah, I still have it. I need to sell it. That and the Avata, because I don't really fly those anymore.
Дрон взлетает из КамАЗа.
I flew through barns, tunnels, all kinds of shit.
Дрон летит, его сбивают эти зенитки.
We'll go watch Preston's video on this in just a second, but I want to see what footage they had of it.
Панцирь их сбивает.
Like any of these trucks could have tons of drones on the roof. Russia's got to be nervous about it. There goes a drone there.
Сейчас его панцирь будет сбивать.
And unlike a lot of the shit we see with Russia, they're attacking valid military targets. Right.
Еще один.
Is this it? Damn, it's a lot of smoke and shit out in the distance, isn't it? All right, let's watch. I'm sure that Preston has a video on it. Operation Spiderweb.
So what you're seeing here is supposedly Ukrainian drones being launched out the back of a truck near one of these airfields that was just hit inside of Russia. This is supposedly part of Operation Spiderweb. Ukrainian sources are saying this was a year and a half into planning, and it sounds like what they did, we got some pictures and videos to back this up at this point, is they smuggled in drones, put them in these containers with a false roof in the back of some
I would say they're going to go pretty fucking wild on Ukraine after this.
Cargo trucks, had those trucks.
They're probably going to be lobbing all kinds of missiles and shit at them.
Somewhere near.
All right, so see, solar panels, right? They made all these connexes especially for this. Solar panels, and the roof detaches. And I was talking over it.
Smuggled in.
This is under the fake roof. Look how many drones they have in each one. 3, if it's just 3, that'd be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, possibly 27 that we can see in this picture. That's if it isn't 4 wide, right? That's a lot of fucking drones, dude. And the container's still usable, right? Yeah, it's got this fake ceiling in it, and they probably lost, 8 inches? 9.5, 9.25 or something? 2 by 10? But like, damn, they could still have rice or beans or whatever the fuck was supposed to be in there.
Drones, put them in these containers with a false roof in the back of some cargo trucks, had those trucks parked somewhere near Russian military facilities, and then remotely operated the drones launching out the back. That's what you see in the video here. And it looks like there's some rumors that these may have been fiber optic drones, which isn't all that shocking, given you would expect some sort of electronic warfare jamming directly over the airfields. Ukraine came out and say, hey, just so you know, Russia, everybody involved in this is back in Ukraine right now. So if you start arresting people and rounding people up, just know this is a message to the Russian citizens. He's just laying the blame wherever he can. But nonetheless, according to Ukrainian sources right now, and Russia has not confirmed this, but we got a lot of footage showing a lot of destruction. Ukraine says 41 strategic Russian aircraft were hit during the course of this operation. So when you're talking about, at this point, 0 Ukrainian losses, right? Very inexpensive FPV-style drones smuggled into Russia, taking out...
Listen to this Russian bot comment, okay? Tell me this isn't a Russian bot. Good job, NATO. Did not Ukraine. Zelensky, with 2 Y's, is their agent. He doesn't, for own country, just fight, make European happy. I think it's supposed to be European. To me, that isn't the ultimate. That's like the final boss bot.
A strategic aircraft, 40 maybe at a time, cut that in half, call it 20. And this is, again, up there with one of the most daring and most successful military operations in recent history. So what you're seeing here is supposedly Ukrainian drones being launched out the back of a truck near one of these airfields that was just hit.
I want to watch it again. That's awesome.
Supposedly part of Operation Spiderweb. Ukrainian sources are saying this was a year and a half into planning.
18 months in the planning.
It sounds like what they did.
It seems weird. I guess the truck could have been a ground relay station, which they know they have a good connection with it there, and then those drones could have been fiber optic, but I don't see that happening. I think they just went so deep. Russia's deployed all their jamming shit to the front lines. I think they're so deep in Russian territory that they're not keeping a good eye on the military bases as far as jamming out signals. They didn't think that Ukraine could get that far with a drone.
We got some pictures and videos to back this up at this point, is they smuggled in drones, put them in these containers with a false roof in the back of some cargo trucks, had those trucks parked somewhere near Russian military facilities, and then remotely operated the drones launching out the back. That's what you see in the video here. And it looks like there's some rumors that these may have been fiber optic drones, which isn't all that shocking, given you would expect some sort of electronic warfare jamming directly over the airfields. Ukraine came out and say, hey, just so you know, Russia, everybody involved in this,
Russia lost 27 warships in an all-land war. Let that sink in. Damn.
All right, here's some more footage from Operation Spiderweb, the Ukrainian drone attack against Russian strategic airfields earlier today. 4 airfields pretty far into and in the eastern portion of Russia. One of them, the Belaya airfield, 4,500 kilometers away from Ukrainian territory.
I wonder why it says it's in fail-safe mode there. Fail-safe mode is usually when it loses connection with controller.
So this was not, we have another video talking about how they smuggled these drones in and carried out the strikes, but this was not a long-range munition, nothing Western provided, fired from Ukraine. But nonetheless, what we have at this point is 4 different airfields were successfully hit. Ukraine says as many
1 Navy base
Russian aircraft were damaged and or destroyed. There were rumors circulating that a Russian submarine base was hit as well. There doesn't appear to be any confirmation of that. Even sources inside of Russia that are complaining about these airfields are saying, wait a minute, we have people in that town and they're saying nothing went boom. There's no
Okay, so maybe the naval base was wrong.
Smoke. So for now, focus on the airfields. It sounds like the focus of this attack was on Russian Tu-95 bombers. They're strategic bombers.
Some shill in the comments says, it's painfully suspicious their long-range bombers were attacked. Ukraine had zero strategic interest in blowing up long-range bombers. Guess who does? Then you say, nothing Western provided. Always look to who benefits the most. Yes, they've been bombed. Yes, they've used their long-range bombers. Even though they didn't have to, they've used those.
Their Tu-22 bombers, IL-76 strategic airlift, and then A-50, their AWACS or early warning aircraft. So the Russians not super happy about this right now, but we are starting to get more and more footage showing the effectiveness of these strikes. All right, here's some more footage from...
God, leaves them vulnerable. They're going to be pissed.
So the pro-Russian crowd is having a hard time today. Was this Ukrainian attack against their airfields like significant and warrants a nuclear response, or it's not that big of a deal at all? What are you guys all worked up about? Who needs that many strategic bombers? So a couple different quotes to run through here. First off, the Russian Ministry of Defense broke their silence and actually commented on this, officially saying that the majority of the drones were effectively shot down. They also added that this was a terrorist attack. So Ukraine using FPVs to attack military aircraft on military bases that are actively used to attack Ukrainian cities was a terrorist attack by Ukraine. So that's the framing. But then we've got 2 majors who earlier today called for a nuclear response, said, quote, the enemy has carried out a serious operation and its consequences allow us to once again emphasize the need for reform of the entire security bloc. Otherwise, this war will last not 4 years, but 44. And then Alexander
Fiber drones look like they have a large coffee can with nose cone hung underneath them where the fiber spools out. Oh, yeah, like a distribution can, yeah, that it spools out of.
Took the other side, saying, guys, why are you even so freaked out? These are just strategic bombers. We don't really even need all of them. It says, quote, the main striking force of our nuclear triad is its land component. The air and sea components only supplement it. If we think theoretically, even the loss of half of our nuclear potential in counterstrikes, we still retain the ability to destroy planet Earth several times over. That's a nice metric, I guess. But nonetheless, Russians right now having a hard time deciding, was this really, really serious or not serious at all? So the pro-Russian crowd is having a hard time today. Was this Ukrainian attack against their airfield?
They can't even get their stories together. This seems like it was a big attack.
Well, to nobody's surprise, Russia is threatening a nuclear response to Ukraine's attacks on their airfields earlier today. I don't actually think this is going to happen, but it's circulating in enough Russian channels that it's worth bringing up. One specifically coming from 2 majors here, a prominent Russian.
I don't understand how anybody besides Russia could really complain about this attack or a Russian bots or whatever, right? They didn't kill civilians. They didn't bomb a town and have, unintended victims. They went after military equipment, valid military targets, military equipment that's sitting on the fucking ground. The chances that there was even pilots on board, right? Very fucking slim. They were just staged there.
Mill blogger or war correspondent said, quote, this is not just a pretext. This is a reason to launch nuclear strikes on Ukraine. This is a direct undermining of the nuclear strategic balance of power. This is a reduction in the nuclear security of our country. And that's where this actually gets a little bit different than like the normal just temper tantrums being thrown when Russia says like, that's it, World War III, we're gonna launch nukes. In this case, it actually does kind of line up with their nuclear doctrine. One of the components there is talking about Russia's ability to respond with their nuclear capabilities. So we're looking at the Russian nuclear triad here, air-launched, sea-launched, and land-based nuclear weapons. The air-launched ones, a lot of them come from the Tu-95 bombers. A bunch of those bombers were hit today. Not clear how many were destroyed and or damaged, but they've only got like 47 or so entirely in their arsenal. So how many of those 47 Tu-95s have to be damaged or destroyed before, it severely impacts Russia's ability to respond with nuclear weapons? That's kind of what they're pointing at here. Now, usually that is kind of, that would be, we're talking about the nuclear doctrine that's never been used, right, by anyone. Since 1945, I don't know that we necessarily had a nuclear doctrine when we dropped those atomic bombs. So we're kind of parsing things apart here, but usually that's viewed as another nuclear country. Like if the United States went in and removed all of the Russian Air Force but didn't use a nuclear weapon, Russia might respond with a nuclear weapon because of that threat.
Because it's another nuclear country, yeah.
Their ability to defend themselves.
Or if they found out that the U.S. came in and gave some type of weapon system to Ukraine and said, hey, use this on their strategic bombers, right? Take them out.
Hear about it with a non-nuclear state to a nuclear state, but that's what two majors and some others in Russia are pointing to today. Well, to nobody's surprise, Russia's Hey, good morning. Also, Russia's burning. As many as 40 of their planes, including strategic bombers, have been hit overnight. Airfields across the country are on fire. Check this out. So this is one of the clips here. You can see all the aircraft on the airfield there already burning, getting hit.
This is one good thing that Telegram's good for. There are tons of Ukrainian, you got to wade through the bullshit, propaganda, AI videos, bullshit, lies, but they do have a lot of footage on there.
FPV drones. According to a couple different sources, it sounds like
from both sides.
The security service conducted a large-scale special operation aimed at destroying Russia's long-range bomber fleet deep behind enemy lines. They say so far, more than 40 aircraft have been destroyed or damaged, including A-50 surveillance planes, Tu-95, and Tu-22 strategic bombers. And we're seeing a lot of footage just like this play out. I think I got another one where they're flying directly over the aircraft. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. So, of course, waiting to see the actual damage, but we've got a lot of footage already. This would be even one or two of these getting knocked out is a pretty significant loss to the Russian Air Force. Now, these strategic bombers have a couple key capabilities. First off, these are the ones launching long-range missiles in Ukrainian cities, so kind of understandable why Ukraine would knock these out. They're also the nuclear-capable aspect of the Russian Air Force. When you're looking at the triad of their land-based missiles, their air-based capabilities, and then their submarine forces, these are part of the Russian nuclear triad. So they're aircraft capable of carrying and deploying nuclear warheads, and it sounds like a fair amount of them were knocked out in the last couple hours. Hey, good morning. Also, Russia's burning. As many as...
Damn. There's a war going on in San Diego. Terrorist attack in fucking Boulder. Russia's burning. Should I make this full screen for you? Look at all the fiber optic lines. Look at them.
Оце все поле в оптоволокні. Геть, все тягне за собою. Рибак, блядь. Ваня, а ти чого собі не взяв? Ти чого собі не
Fucking fiber optic lines everywhere. Damn. I don't know. Very interesting strategic strike coming from Ukraine. How will Russia respond? Probably throwing a bunch of shit at Ukraine. Probably a lot of civilian deaths, a lot of but Trump's been kind of pissy about like, I don't know what's wrong with him. I've known him for a long time. This isn't him. Trying to cover for him, but also mad. You can tell he's getting mad about him. So we'll see what comes from that. Who knows? Research time. Who hit Elon?
I don't know who punched Elon Musk in the face. I mean, technically we're all suspects, aren't we? His list of haters runs deep. I've heard it was the Treasury Secretary, and I don't know when this altercation happened, who it was with, anything like that. I don't think it happened yesterday right before they went on TV. The yellow looks like...
No, he was actually in the CBS interview that I'm going to show you in a minute. He has a little bit of a black eye.
It's healing. Elon did have a meeting with a bunch of...
All right, so this is him. This is Elon right here, right? Going into a meeting with a bunch of senators a few days ago. See his eye? Let's go. Let's enhance. There we go. See his eye? No black eye, or does it seem to be a black guy?
Senators on May 21st. And
that was the 21st.
This is what he looked like going in.
And when he's in the White House, it's already turning like green and yellow, so it looks like it's healing and old.
You can see we have Stephen Miller's wife right alongside.
That's Stephen Himmler's wife, Pee Wee German, right? That's her right there. on their play date. Looks fine, right?
Him. And this is what he looked like coming out.
But for some reason, when he come out, all of the Getty images, all of the footage I can find, his hat's pulled way down over his fucking eye. Now, originally, before the black eye, no one thought any of this. They thought, oh, his son's like fucked with his hat and pushed it down or whatever. Because he's always using his son as, this is fucked up, but he's always using his son as a bullet catcher. He is obsessed with the fact that he's so paranoid that people want to assassinate him. It's very weird to always, if you think people are trying to assassinate you, to always have your son on your head. That is very, like, if I thought for 1 second I was going somewhere where a group of people wanted to hurt me, to kill me, there's no fucking way my kids are going. Much less that I would have them on my back or on my head, or there's no fucking way. No way. But he talks privately to people and says that he's a number 2 target, that there are just people waiting to assassinate him, people trying to take shots at him. These are all in his private text messages. And he's always got it wearing his son like a helmet.
Like his hat was noticeably in front of that eye. Like his hat was noticeably.
Look at the hat. Why is the hat pulled down so low? What's going on, Dark MAGA? You think this is when he got hit in this meeting?
Pulled down super, super far.
By the way, another rumor that comes out about why this may have happened. Besant, in this altercation he had with Elon Musk, according to 5 different insiders, also was very upset that he told Trump that these 150, 200, 300-year-old people were getting Social Security checks. And then Trump repeated it in the State of the Union. And now that they went back and checked, none of these people were ever paid Social Security. Ever. Like, they're still in the system, right? And it's an error, probably. But without death records, it's not worth correcting. But no one's getting a check from that. Should they be in the system? No. But they're kept to keep the system honest without death certificates, right? If someone turns in a death certificate for them, or they can find one, they'll absolutely be removed from the system. But we don't just go eliminating people without a death certificate to put in his place. But they were very mad that Elon Musk has said it, the White House has said it, Trump said it in his State of the Union bullshit, and now they're having to admit that there was no money there, which is great because we knew that all along.
After coming out of this meeting. If you look closely,
Pat down.
see some damage.
Now, right there. It probably wouldn't be black already. But if we look closely, it does look like there's some swelling there, no? And the picture I just showed you was him going into that meeting. This is him coming out of the meeting. It does look like there might be some swelling there, doesn't it? With his hat pulled down. It could be a shadow. But to me, it looks very puffy and maybe even like pinkish reddish. It seems like the punch happened in this meeting.
To the eye could be just a shadow. I specifically pulled these next images from Getty Images. Well, all of these images from Getty Images so that you can see that they're not AI. Keep in mind, this is from yesterday when he was in the Oval Office.
Now watch this, where he's like fucking spun up on his ketamine. He claims he doesn't do ketamine anymore.
Saying farewell to his political career.
Look at these faces he's making.
In this man. What is that?
That's the Grinch. That's the Grinch.
What is that? That doesn't even look...
There's a video of him going, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're on drugs.
Real. That looks like an illustration. Looks like something straight out of a horror movie. And the last interesting thing that I observed was after Elon and Donald Trump shook hands.
Trump known for shaking people's hands, trying to squeeze their hand too hard, trying to pull them off balance. He definitely squeezes the hand too hard. Look at this.
Shaking hands, okay? Look at the print.
Look when they release hands. This is not what it should look like after a handshake. Either Elon has some weird circulation thing going on, or Trump does this like alpha male dominant squeeze bullshit that like some people do. We know he jerks people, right? This is I've never had my handshake and it looked like that afterwards.
That was
I've had hand jobs that didn't look like that afterwards. It made my wrist hurt, but it didn't look like that.
left on his hand. Is he having like a circulation issue? Like, was the president trying to break his hand? What happened here? Stay tuned.
Oh no, that's what I'm here training for right now. That's what I'm training for. The Trump handshake. That's why my training aids are orange.
I want to share about Elon Musk, and I promise it's educational. I'm not just going to be bullying him. We'll be back shortly. I just had to get it out.
Elon Musk, to me, seems like the type of guy that would say some shit in your face, loud and aggressive, that everybody in the room thinks, oh my God, this guy he's talking to is going to hit him. Then you hit him, and he acts completely fucking surprised. Like it was just out of nowhere somebody hit him. Like he'll say everything to deserve being hit in the face. Then when someone does it, he like fucking cowers back down. He's like, I can't believe you did that. Who would do that? Violence? Really?
Like, was the president trying to break his hand? What happened here? Stay tuned, because I have more things I want to share about Elon Musk, and I promise it's educational. I'm not just going to be bullying him. We'll be back shortly. I just had to get it out of my system.
Insane. And then we have this gem. Elon Musk is trying so fucking hard to not mention anything about the administration at all.
But the interview didn't get off to a smooth start.
I noticed that all of your businesses involve a lot of components, a lot of parts. Do the tariffs and the trade wars affect any of this?
Tariffs, trade wars.
You know, tariffs always affect things a little bit.
Wondering what your thoughts.
Elon, the guy that never shuts up about anything, is asked, like, has a tariff and the trade wars affected, you know, your rocketry? Tariffs affects things.
Your thought is on the ban on foreign students, the proposal. I mean, you were one of those kids, right?
You were a foreign student, bro. What do you think about the ban on foreign student visas? You were a foreign student on a foreign student visa. Illegally, might I add.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to stick to, you know, the subject of the day, which is like spaceships.
I think we want to stick to the subject of the day, spaceships. A month ago, you wouldn't shut the fuck up about how amazing everything was. Today, tariffs are a thing. Yeah, spaceships. What happened, bro?
As opposed to, you know, presidential policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was told anything's good, but...
No, well, no.
No, no.
Show you how to take off.
I accidentally clicked this. Now we got to watch it.
A single seat freedom machine that legally requires no pilot's license.
Dude, I found an ultralight helicopter that sells for like, I don't know, like $50,000, $60,000 with no pilot's license. It was pretty cool. It's a one person only.
Which is why
I forget what it's called.
An airplane. Step one, we got to taxi out and throw a cool hand signal to our buddy. Nothing official, just something that says if I crash, delete my browser history. All right, look both ways. Runways don't have stop signs, but they do have surprise crop dusters and the one guy named Randy in a golf cart. So I like to announce my intentions on the radio. You don't have to, but it's good for safety. All right, we're going to...
It's called the Composite FX.
Throttle up nice and smooth. Airspeed is alive. 30.
I think one day I'm going to build an experimental ultralight.
When I hit 40, I'm going to tug back slightly on the yoke, coaxing her up a hill like a goat, and boom, we're flying. No TSA, no shoes, no problem. I climb out about 1,000 feet per minute, pretty much like I'm late for a barbecue, fast as I can, and just like that, I'm airborne. One man, one throttle, no shoes, and some questionable decisions.
Damn, that was a cool video to accidentally click on. I don't know. I'm a weird aviation nerd. I'm never going to be able to, like, I would love to have like a commercial license, or even hell, even be able to afford to do a private pilot's license. I can't right now, but I may be able to one day. Weird that Elon Musk won't address any of these topics, though. No. Why won't you why won't you talk about the tariffs or the student visa? Weird. What is this one? This may also be Operation Spiderweb.
Witnessing history.
There we go.
What happened in
this is one I forgot to show.
Was part of an operation that took 18 months called Operation Spiderweb. And this was one of those attacks in which we know that when it comes to advancements in drone warfare, this is going to be in the history books. For those who don't know, Ukraine attacked 5 different Russian air bases alongside a Navy base, one of those targets being 3,000 kilometers away. Yeah, that right.
3,000. Oh, somebody said 4,300.
There is above
the furthest.
Mongolia. And their main targets? Going after Russia's strategic bombers, in which we know that over 41 have been hit. Most of them, from the photos and videos we're seeing online, are completely out of commission. So how did Ukraine do this? Well, we're just getting photos and videos uploaded by the SBU, in which we now...
Yeah, we talked about...
First, we found out...
We talked about the story about Besant. No one knows if it's true.
That drones were smuggled into Russia. In this photo, we think there's about 100 drones. And then somehow, you could see these containers.
Yeah, I don't see the spool for the fiber optic lines, but this doesn't mean this is the drones they use. This is a photo op, so who knows?
These were smuggled in. You could see these things. They got solar panels on them. They removed the tops of those containers, and they put these drones inside. They then drove these trucks to these different bases. The driver got out. They went back to Ukraine, and those trucks sat there for a couple days. And this is what that looked like. You could see this is the truck here. Those containers look familiar. Here is the lid. Yeah, the lid slid off, and then you could see the drones like this one here pop up and go right to its target. And then Ukraine, being Ukraine, filmed the entire thing with their drones and then sent that data back to the SBU, who then released it all so that we can all see it. And that way Russia can't be like, oh no, they didn't do that. My friends, this is historic. And remember that in less than 24 hours, Ukrainians will be meeting with Russians in Istanbul to talk about peace. Maybe this will move the needle a little bit. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, so please go ahead and repost my videos and follow me for more.
I would like to see Ukraine be able to cripple Russia to a point where they have no other option than peace. Like Ukraine's getting ready to start taking territory in the homeland in Russia. And the Russian troops are just on their fucking heels, right? This is interesting.
It turns out that Ukraine actually reached out to the United States prior to today's...
Trump likes that.
Hey.
I guarantee you Trump likes that. He has this weird hero mentality, worship thing. The fact that they reach out, I guarantee you he likes that.
It states prior to today's attack to say, hey, we're doing this. And according to the reports that are coming out, the United States said, okay, you're right ahead. So for those asking whether or not Trump had anything to really say about this, well, he didn't say no, don't do it. They kind of said, all right, do what you got to do. And that's why this attack has happened. And that's why we're not going to hear any bad words from the United States, because Ukraine spent 18 months putting this together. They told them what was going to happen. And if the United States truly wanted Ukraine not to do this, they would have said, don't do this. You're going to lose our support or do X, Y, and Z. But because Russia right now, they really don't have the cards, and we're trying to pressure Russia into coming to the negotiation table, the United States said, yes, go right ahead. And so 40-plus aircraft are now destroyed, and the U.S. gave its write-off on that. So how is Russia going to respond? We don't know yet. I'll be sure to keep you updated, so please do repost my videos and follow me for more.
Damn. And then one more. Zelensky gives us an update.
Massive news is coming from Zelensky, in which, for the second time, he's giving us more information about today's attack. Now, this was part of his nightly speech, and in the speech, he mentions one key thing I want you to take away from this. Scrolling through this, you can see that what's most interesting, and this can now be stated publicly, is that the office of her operation on the Russian territory was located directly next to the FSB headquarters in one of their regions. What does this mean? This means that there is nowhere inside of Russia that Ukraine can't get to, which a lot of people point out. That means that, yes, if they wanted to go after certain people, they could. He also said in here there were a total of 117 drones used, and now 34% of their strategic cruise missile carriers were hit. This just shows the range in which Ukraine can do things. And at this very moment, we know that Ukraine also has more drones headed into Russia, as shown on maps like this. And only from the Russian news, they're saying it's about 200.
The FSB,
later on.
The FSB is like their KGB now, right? Between the FSB and the GRU, that's like their KGB agents. And they have one of their offices or is right next to them.
Today, so please do repost my videos and follow me for more.
It's interesting. Did you guys see that the U.S. is trying to write up a memorandum of understanding, right, about the Qatar jet donation? And they're trying to write up that Qatar just donated this jet to the Air Force because they're kind people. And the leaders in Qatar are like, oh, no, no, no. Trump begged us for that jet. In fact, he sent one of the people of his administration over here in February to ask us if we would give him that jet. They are not letting it go like, oh, yeah, I guess we'll just play along with Trump. They're like, nope, he begged us. He sent people over here to negotiate for us. We didn't just volunteer to give it to him. He begged us for this jet for some reason. Which really pushes back on the story that Trump's giving. Like, I didn't want it, but what am I supposed to do? Refuse? Refuse it? And look like an asshole? Fucking idiot. Can I show this? This is moments before the terrorist attack in Boulder. So this was a protest demanding the release of hostages, I think. And this guy shows up screaming free Palestine and sets a bunch of what I heard were elderly Jewish people on fire.
We're here, brother. We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do.
And see, there's fire on the ground right here, and he's holding Molotov cocktails.
Not here.
And there's somebody over here, a victim on the ground, multiple victims. I'm not sure why I'm muted suddenly. Okay, that's in the video, I guess.
We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing. We can. Not here.
And then as a fucking as a talking point for the right wing, it seems like this guy was an illegal alien. Here's the story I was talking about. Despite previous claims from the Department of Defense that the United States has officially accepted the luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from Qatar, the United States and Qatar have not yet finalized the details of this agreement, which are still being reviewed by their respective legal teams, according to a White House official and sources familiar with the discussions. A White House official stated that the White House legal team is currently finalizing the details of the gift, working on a memorandum of understanding and or MOU between the United States and Qatar. The Washington Post first reported the news. The plane from Qatar is currently in the United States, according to sources familiar with the matter, as well as President Donald Trump, who confirmed the plane was here. However, Qatar wants to clarify the details surrounding the transfer, specifically emphasizing that the Trump administration was responsible for the initiation of the discussions about the donation of the luxury jet to the U.S. government, sources familiar with the negotiations said. As the president has said, this will be a sovereign-to-sovereign gift to the U.S. Air Force, White House spokesperson Anna Kelly said in a statement. Asked about the details of the plane and its transfer on Thursday, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt repeatedly said it's a government-to-government gift. This is a government-to-government gift transfer from the Qataris to the Department of Defense, the United States Air Force. It is now in their hands, And for further details on where that stands, I would defer you to the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, Leavitt said during a White House press briefing. ABC News first reported earlier this month the aircraft is expected to be available for use by Trump as new Air Force One until shortly before he leaves office, at which time the ownership of the plane is expected to be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. Sources familiar with the matter told ABC News. Last week, Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Purnell said that the Pentagon had officially accepted the luxury jet from Qatar. The Secretary of Defense has accepted a Boeing 747 from Qatar in accordance with all federal rules and regulations, said Purnell, adding that the Department of Defense would work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered for an aircraft used to transport the President of the United States. The Trump administration plans to accept. So basically, the Qatar was saying that. Let me see if I can find that. That back during the winter, he sent somebody over there to talk to them and asked if they would fly it to Florida so he could get a look at it. I think it came from WAPO, the Washington Post. I'm trying to find that. Sorry, I'm trying to get past all the paywalls.
Gesture from Qatar. I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
President Donald Trump has talked about this potential deal for a Qatari Boeing 747 to act as Air Force One, as a gesture, a gift from the Qatari royal family, which the U.S. would receive for free, he said. But sources tell my colleagues and me that it was the Trump administration that first made the outreach to Qatar after Trump came into office, that it is in fact the U.S. that made this request of Doha. The administration was told by Boeing, which is making the next generation of Air Force One planes, that the two planes would not arrive until 2027. Trump wanted something sooner, so the Pentagon, with the White House's backing, reached out to Qatar. Boeing had given the administration a list of possible planes that could work as Air Force One in the meantime.
So Boeing gave them a list of planes that would technically work as Air Force One if retrofitted, that were anybody owned them around the world, and one of them was this one. So he went begging for it.
And Qatar had one of those planes. The president's...
Oh, we paid for it in favors, absolutely, 100%.
Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, he also...
Steve Witkoff.
...helped facilitate these early meetings. The Pentagon then...
Back during the winter, Steve Witkoff went over there and said, hey, we'd like you to give us this jet. And we want it in Florida so the president could see it.
Offered to buy the plane, and Qatar offered to sell it. Now we're told
what?
Lawyers are still hashing out the details, but the White House...
Can I not rewind this fucking video?
Still claiming that this is going to be a donation.
I have to watch it again.
Or as Trump wrote on Truth Social recently, a gift. Free of charge.
The government of Qatar, the Qatari family, has offered to donate this plane to the United States.
Originally, it was that we were going to buy it. Is that right?
The plane is not a personal donation or a gift to the President of the United States.
Trump had said that a Qatari official had told him, if I can help you, let me do that. Now, publicly, Qatar has not refuted Trump, and in his visit to Doha last week, everything went smoothly. But the real story is certainly more nuanced and different from how Trump and his aides have been telling.
We're going to watch it again. Hold on.
So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
President Donald Trump has talked about this potential deal for a Qatari Boeing 747 to act as Air Force One, as a gesture, a gift from the Qatari royal family, which the U.S. would receive for free, he said. But sources tell my colleagues and me that it was the Trump administration that first made the outreach to Qatar after Trump came into office, that it is in fact the U.S. that made...
They had been trying to sell it for years. Right, it needs a lot of work, and who takes a 747-8 besides extremely wealthy people? And do they usually want to? If they can afford a used one, most people are probably going to get a new one, right?
Made this request of Doha. The administration was told by Boeing, which is making the next generation of Air Force One planes, that the two planes would not arrive until 2027. Trump wanted something sooner, so the Pentagon, with the White House's backing, reached out to Qatar.
So the Pentagon reached out with the White House's backing after they were given this list of potential planes that could work. By the time this plane is retrofitted, Air Force One's going to be here. All Trump's getting is a free plane with $1 billion worth of works done to it.
Boeing had given the administration a list of possible planes that could work as Air Force One in the meantime, and Qatar had one of those planes. The president's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, he also helped facilitate these early meetings.
Right here.
Then offered to buy the plane, and Qatar offered to sell it.
The Pentagon offered to buy the plane, and Qatar offered to sell it.
Now we're told.
It feels so weird saying Qatar. I know I say it weird, but that's the way I was taught in the Middle East when I was there, was that it was Qatar.
The lawyers are still hashing out the details, but the White House is still claiming that this is going to be a donation from Qatar, or as Trump wrote on Truth Social recently, a gift free of charge.
The government of Qatar, the Qatari family, has offered to donate this plane to the United States Air Force. This plane is not a personal donation or a gift to the President of the United States.
Trump had said that a Qatari official had told him, if I can help you, let me do that. Now, publicly, Qatar has not refuted Trump, and in his visit to
I'm sure what he did is put a bunch of pressure on him. Like, hey, we'd like the plane, but, for free. We do a lot of trade with you. We do this. We send this much aid. The same way they're getting Elon Musk Starlink approvals through. Right? They're saying how much fucking aid we're sending to this country, and that could all stop if you don't approve this, whatever, Starlink.
To Doha last week, everything went smoothly, but the real story is certainly more nuanced.
I could be saying it wrong. I don't know. All I'm saying is I said it as Qatar for the longest time, like whenever I was in school and stuff. But when I was over in the Middle East, I was told that it was disrespectful and I needed to start saying Qatar.
And different from how Trump and his aides have been telling it.
So who knows? It's insane, dude. The whole plane thing is fucking insane. And it's and Air Force One is going to be Oh, you guys want some good news instead of just some horrible news? They are rebooting King of the Hill. King of the Hill! Coming back, baby. And said the same thing. I watched the video. Yeah, so the U.S. military has like a vacation area, right? Let's say you're overseas and you don't get leave for a long time, or you don't get leave at all. They have an MWR place in Qatar that's got like pools. You're allowed 2 beers a day. Like it's like a place to hang out there. Like it's almost like a spa. But the only people that get sent there are like if you're in combat and you're not going to get leave for a long time or maybe not at all, then they rotate people through and give them a little break. You might spend 10 days there or whatever. It's not bad. And then obviously people are stationed there too, but that's very few people. And when I was there, they're like Qatar. Don't ever say Qatar to somebody here, but maybe I'm wrong too. I don't know.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Here's the trailer. So it looks like it starts off normal like every show. Alamo beer. But they're getting older. Everybody's getting older. Bobby's driving now. And then suddenly Hank's gone. And then their family are getting on an airport shuttle. We'll watch it all in real speed in a second. Then the family is loading up. You can even see the kids are older than they should be. The family's getting on an airport shuttle. And everybody looks sad. Then some black guy moves in, and he's hanging out with them. Then COVID happens. Look, they got their 6 foot of separation. Then Dale runs for mayor. And the black guy leaves, but then Hank moves back. Hank moves back with Bobby, and Bobby's like, 20, 25. I don't know how old he's supposed to be here. But Bobby's back. Hank is clearly much older. Peggy's much older. I hope Khan is still in it, like the Laotian neighbor or whatever. From Laos. There you go. Hulu. The reboot. I'm excited. I like King of the Hill. It was. I used to enjoy watching it with my dad. It was pretty good. Picklegate.
Have to enforce. Oh my goodness, he's upset.
He's coming back. He's just a little
Rage
smoke.
quit. I got him to rage quit.
With my entire position.
Oh shit, the misogynist rage quit.
I agree with you that men should not enforce women's
Well, you didn't let me finish the sentence.
Well, I don't really need to. You conceded the debate.
No, I did not concede the debate, Andrew. You're just walking away because you're mad.
Yeah, take a smoke break, boys. Yeah, get a quick one in. Second on a dart there. We've talked about Elon Musk's Grok AI power plant, and I found the loophole he's going through. Okay, so he has a permit in Memphis. I might have these numbers wrong, but he has a permit in Memphis to use these mobile gas, electric generating gas turbines. He has a permit, for 13. Now, he's got 35 set up. Gas turbines are not just flip on, flip off, right? They have a startup cycle. They have a heat cycle. You have to sync them with the grid and turn them on to get power. It is a little bit of some work to get them on and off. They do use them for surge power plants, but they have to have a little bit of a notice. He's running 35 of them. 35 of them. He only has a permit to run 13. He said the others were extra, so they never went down, right? Like a hospital might have a generator, but it might have a second generator as a backup, right? That's what he claimed. 13 of them running. He's got 35 total there, and he said any extra ones there were for backup, but it seems like they're all running. Now, when I worked on the road at cogen plants, at gas turbine power plants, they are remotely monitored, okay? They have a little building outside, a little shack that has all these probes and wires run everywhere, and they are remotely monitored. And if the slightest, like NOx or carbon monoxide, if the slightest thing it gets out of whack, even before it goes above like illegal limits, when it just starts raising up, they get a fucking phone call, okay, from a regulatory commission. That's like, hey, you got issues, either shut it down or bring it in line. Elon gets by without any monitoring. Formaldehyde, NOx, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, he's putting all that in the air with zero monitoring. Because technically, his little power plant things are mobile. Even though he's got them there, they're not, and he has no plan on using them or deploying them out to somewhere that doesn't have power or use it temporarily. He's using them for permanent. That permanent installation he's set up there for Grok AI. They're mobile units that do not require remote monitoring or compliance monitoring because they're not on a permanent foundation. So he found a loophole in the law because technically if he just built a power plant there or even two, he would have to comply with all of our clean air shit. He bypasses all of that because there's a loophole for mobile in case like my house or let's say our whole town goes down. They can roll these machines in, have them there for like 2 months while they hook everything up and then roll them back out because they're mobile. And it would be really hard to hook them up to the system to monitor for everything, and they probably wouldn't pass, right? But they're used for temporary spaces because they're expensive to run, right? But Elon needs more power than is available there. So he can't just hook up to the grid. He won't build a power plant because then he would be subject to clean air monitoring. He needs more than 15 of those motherfuckers to run Grok AI, but he can only get a permit for 13. So he just brings in 35, lies, there's no oversight, there's no monitoring, runs them all the time, and is literally poisoning Memphis. I think we've watched this video before. We went to the town Elon Musk is poisoning. We've watched it before, but here it is if you don't know what's going on there. It's not long. From More Perfect Union.
Misconduct is hidden in plain sight.
And you can see them, you can see them with heat.
Invisible
clear.
to the naked eye.
What is happening here will swallow our world if we don't stop it right here, right now.
Looking back, there was an early clue that the world's richest man was up to something here.
It's just like, why is Elon Musk coming to Memphis?
The people of Memphis.
And people are saying like, oh, Memphis loved this when there was good high-paying jobs and blah, 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 until they found out it's Elon Musk doing it. Now they hate him because they just hate Trump and hate Elon Musk. It's TDS. No. Make him get a permit for every fucking machine there. And if he's going to continuously run them in the capacity he is, he should have to comply with the same thing the power plant down the road has to comply with.
This soon found out.
Now, Elon.
If they're just temporary units because he's building a power plant, fine. Give him 3 years to build a power plant. Whatever. A year. You know, to come in compliance. But if he's going to run them permanently for this building, he needs to get a permit for everyone that's fucking fired up. He can't have more fired up than he has permits to run, and make him comply.
Musk is coming to Memphis to build the world's largest supercomputer.
A year later,
they were talking about the jobs when they built it, I guess, when they built the place.
People here want answers.
It like literally belches formaldehyde into the sky.
To see that they had 35 gas turbines operating and polluting our air.
We went to Memphis and found an environmental crime scene. Musk's data center burning enough methane to power a small city with no permits and no pollution controls.
I have not.
That's part of the problem. If it was anybody else other than Elon Musk, that's part of the problem with data centers. There are people that, like, you guys remember where the .com bust was, right? Everybody went out and bought all these websites thinking that everybody'd come and buy all these different domain names, and they're still holding on to them. And some people made money, but very few did. Well, there has been a data center bust where people who don't really understand how data center works went out and bought property and leased buildings and bought areas to build data centers, knowing that the people who need data centers would later come and buy it all up and then make a ton of money. But they don't understand the power demands of a data center, especially when it's like AI. They don't understand the power demands. So a lot of the grids aren't set up for it. So usually when a data center is going to come in, they usually have to partner with like the local municipality or a power plant or whatever it is, and they have to come up with some type of arrangement. Somebody has to pay to put in all these lines, transformers, upgrade the power system. And if a city is smart, if cities were smart, what they would do is they would say to these businesses, yes, you can come in. Yes, we'll give you tax breaks, but you have to help us or pay to upgrade our power distribution. You need the power. Our infrastructure's falling apart. You pay to upgrade it. We'll give you the tax breaks. We'll give you this. We'll cut you a deal on that. You upgrade our infrastructure. But instead, a lot of towns bend over backwards and say, we'll do it. Just bring the jobs, bring the jobs, bring the jobs, bring the jobs, whatever. But a lot of companies have to jump through these hoops with power plants, power distribution. Elon Musk is trying to get away from that by running his own little power plants. But he's got to do it legally. He can't be poisoning people to run Grok AI. That's ridiculous.
Not seen anything like this. We believe they've already violated the Clean Air Act.
As Musk helps dismantle the very federal agency that's supposed to protect us against pollution like this,
There is no way to miss how this is a coordinated strategy.
what does Memphis reveal?
The two big ones are formaldehyde and NOx, right? Nitrogen oxide, which is a bunch of different chemical families, and then formaldehyde are the two big ones.
What the future Elon Musk wants for us all.
So the mission of XAI and Grok is to understand the universe.
In 2023, Musk founded XAI to produce and sell artificial intelligence.
We want to understand the nature of the universe so we can figure out where are the aliens, what's the meaning of life, how does the universe end.
Its main product is Grok, an AI chatbot that he's incorporated into Twitter, or X. Musk was entering the race to dominate the AI market, but he was arriving late, years after competitors like OpenAI and Google had begun training their AI systems. So in Musk's mind, he had to move fast.
We went to the video center.
By the way, do you guys know the Trump supporters, before you can't tell me this isn't planned now that I see the big picture. Before Trump tweeted out that bullshit about Biden being a clone or whatever and being executed in Gitmo, when he retruthed that, for hours, probably 5 or 6 hours before that, Twitter was going wild against Trump, even MAGA people against Trump, for partnering with Palantir to make these master files on every U.S. citizen. That was trending on Twitter. Then suddenly, Trump retweets that Biden's a clone because he was executed at Gitmo in 2020. And suddenly, no one's talking about it anymore. Weird how that happened, huh?
Of providers, and so how long would it take to have 100,000 GPUs operating coherently in a single location? And we got time frames from 18 to 24 months. So like, well, 18 to 24 months, that means losing is a certainty. So the only option was to do it ourselves.
18 to 24 months. So they just cheated.
Been waiting for this.
He's telling you he violated the law, didn't get the proper permits, found loopholes, and fucked over Memphis because he knew if he had to wait the time it actually takes, he would have lost.
Moment. I'm pleased to announce that xAI's Gigafactory of Compute, the world's largest supercomputer, is to be located in Memphis, Tennessee.
Musk dubbed the project Colossus, after a movie about a supercomputer that becomes sentient and assumes total control of the world.
And so, my fellow human beings, we all directly and indirectly live in the shade, but not the shadow of Colossus.
When you think about the computational power that it will take to put humans on the surface of Mars, that's going to come from the Gigafactory of Compute that calls Memphis home. And we were told that by the company. And so it required speed and power.
It's announced as a done deal.
Keyshawn Pearson grew up in South Memphis.
A billionaire and his organization is coming to our city, and we're just finding out after the land has been purchased, after the project has been approved by certain officials, right, who did know.
This is huge.
It was done in secret almost, right? No one knew this until it was already announced that it was done. That's weird.
This puts the word out there that Memphis understands operating at the speed of business.
As a community, we're trying to reach out to people and understand what is xAI. He built it without us even knowing that it was being built.
We had to watch this over X or Twitter. Brent Mayo, Elon Musk would tweet often about where they were in the progress, how fast things were moving.
To train an AI system, a data center requires an enormous amount of electricity. The question was, where would the power come from?
Most companies, when they come to the city of Memphis, they plug into our power grid. That's what you think would happen. Why would this be any different?
He should have had to pay to upgrade everything for that power. He's got the money, right? I'm not even concerned about the speed. Let's let him do it fast. But to do it fast, you pay more. And if that turns him away from Memphis, so be it. But every city in this nation should be doing the same thing. You don't have to suck a business off to get it to locate in your fucking city, right? Cities should stand together and say, no, we're going to make them do their fair share. We're not going to give them a 99-year lease for free and never pay fucking taxes or whatever.
Unfortunately, we learned because it is a billionaire corporation, it would be a lot different.
xAI made a deal with a local electric company for 150 megawatts of power and agreed to build a new substation to help meet that demand. But Musk's ambitious plans suggested he would need much more power than that, and fast. Soon, people started to notice some unusual structures outside the facility.
I drove out there, and the first thing I did was hear the turbines. You can smell it as well. Such a disturbingly unique smell.
From the road, Keyshawn and others could see a row of machines that are typically only used for remote or emergency operations. Mobile gas turbines.
Remote and emergency operations. Same reasons they're not regulated.
I have never seen portable turbines used like this.
Patrick Anderson works on air quality cases for the Southern Environmental Law Center.
We know that these kinds of generators require air permits. And so right off the bat, we started filing records requests with the local Shelby County Health Department. Do you have an air permit application from xAI? And they came back and basically said, no, we have nothing to hand over. We also filed records requests with EPA to see what they had. They also did not have details on what is on the ground out there. Nobody from the regulatory side, the health department, the city, EPA, has told the public.
So I used to work on some of these, not super often. But we would get like, I think GE's version is called like the TM 2500, the 2000, like mini emergency gas turbines.
Public or us, really one iota of what's actually operating out there.
To figure that out,
could this blow up if lost of power? It's a big computer. Computers don't blow up when they lose power, no.
Patrick and his team hired a photographer to capture the data center from above. The images revealed far more turbines than anyone knew about. 35.
I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned. How do we not know about this?
According to xAI leadership, the turbines are not being used and are not connected.
Under pressure, xAI claimed it was using less
not being used, not connected
than half of those turbines.
I've talked to the xAI leadership team. There are 35, but there are only 15 that are on. The other ones are stored on the site.
Well, first off, these are expensive. There's a turbine shortage nationally.
Yes, that somebody would pay a fucking arm and a leg for these small ones, especially when we have shit like natural disasters or even construction sites. There's a shortage currently. GE can't produce them fast enough.
Don't obtain these turbines and put them on site if you're not intending to operate them.
So Patrick and his...
Don't worry. They went back with FLIR, right, to see if they're running. If they're running, they're producing a shit ton of heat. That's what they do. They turn LNG into fucking heat and power.
Team sent the photographer back out with a high-end thermal camera.
What we saw is 33 of the 35 were very clearly operating.
The turbines were capable of generating about 420 megawatts of electricity, enough to power around 300,000 homes.
They built a power plant out there. And they've done it overnight, no air pollution controls, quick and dirty, no permit.
I mean, what you've done with the cluster in Memphis is incredible. Just in a handful of weeks.
Any given thing can be sped up. Yeah. Like whatever's being done, it can be done faster.
This is the largest AI cluster in the world. This place is absolutely amazing.
That is like superhuman. I mean, Elon is singular. Building a massive factory in the short time that was done.
It's not that he's superhuman. It's that he's fucking you over and violating all the laws. We already saw about SpaceX and all the pollution and all the shit that they've done, and they're way, way, way above what they got permission, their launch schedule permission, and moving people out and destroying people's homes and shit falling from the sky.
There's only 1% of the world who do that.
And this entire supercomputer is built to power rocks.
We were given a tour at XAI, looking at the facility. Very impressive, very exciting for Memphis. Their commitment to the community is remarkable.
It's unique in my experience.
Joseph Goffman has worked on air pollution issues for decades. Until January, he ran the EPA office that regulates air quality.
Most companies that I've dealt with go to great lengths and spend a lot of money to make sure that the day they turn on their operations, they're also turning on their pollution control equipment. That's a given. For a company to do this, it's treating the people who live there as if they don't count.
Wait until, 5-10 years from now, we see all the fucking lung cancer and weird fucking diseases.
I like to open my windows early in the morning to breathe the fresh air. God's given air, not the air that man want to give us, but God.
Eastern Ox lives just over a mile from XAI.
I really wasn't getting the fresh air. I was getting that pollution that was mixed in with everything.
You know how you light your stove and that gas seeps with the little ticking noise? That's what it smelled like.
Alexis Humphreys grew up here, 1 street away from Eastern.
When I smelled it the first time, I was asleep. And it woke me up because I thought gas was seeping in the house, but couldn't find out. We come outside, and all the neighbors was outside trying to figure out what's going on.
He was an ordinary dad, full of joy.
He's the richest man in the world, and he's poisoning people around him to make more.
Full of jokes.
Last year, Alexis lost her grandfather, who struggled with a respiratory illness called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD.
COPD is a breathing condition, but you don't get it unless you smoke cigarettes. And my granddad didn't smoke cigarettes, but every 3 weeks or so, my granddad was going to the hospital. He would have to get breathing treatments. I have asthma, bronchitis. My mom have just bronchitis, and now my granny has it.
You can hardly breathe. It's just like your whole world is collapsing down on you, and it's frightening.
Easter and her husband have also developed COPD. What does it feel like?
Feel like you're fixing to die.
The area around XAI...
Secondhand smoke, air pollution, and certain jobs and being around certain chemicals in certain jobs can cause COPD as well.
Leads the state in emergency department visits for asthma. Memphis has one of the highest rates of toxic air releases of any American city, and many of its most polluting facilities are in this neighborhood.
Elon, what he did with Memphis is objectively somewhat dirty, but he's also doing it in an area where there's like a bigger natural gas plant right next door and like a wastewater treatment and a garbage dump nearby, right? And he's obviously made the world a lot more clean than that one data center.
In just 1 year.
Oh, so he's cleaning up other areas, so fuck those people that live near there.
XAI has blown past existing polluters.
They're emitting somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 tons of NOx. I'm an air pollution guy, so I deal in those numbers all the time, and that's larger than anything else in Memphis.
Gas turbines like these release 3 main types of deadly pollution: nitrogen oxides, formaldehyde, and fine particulate matter. Nitrogen oxides combine with other pollutants to form ground-level ozone, which causes and worsens asthma and COPD. Formaldehyde causes cancer, and particulate matter, airborne soot, can pass through your lungs and into your bloodstream, causing...
If they're running right, the soot should only be a startup and shutdown, but we don't know. We don't know because he's not being monitored.
Heart disease.
We've shown up today because we've been to too many funerals. We've shown up today because we've cried too many tears. We've shown up here today because we're tired. And we have an expectation of the people that we elect and put into place. We expect them to do what is in our best interest. Not Elon Musk. And what we're saying is that stops now.
In April, hundreds of people came to a high school in South Memphis to talk about XAI. In January, the company belatedly applied for a permit to operate 15 of its turbines for 5 years.
from the applicant XAI, Mr. Brent Mayo.
Why do they do this? Dude, just come in like some slacks and a button-up shirt. It's almost like a slap in the face that they keep coming so branded the way they do. You know what I mean?
That's the first time that XAI...
Elon Musk company poisoning Memphis. So it went from not even existing to being the largest air polluter in Memphis.
has publicly addressed the community in any way.
I understand. I hear the statement, but again, XAI is committed to meeting the highest standard for emissions.
Committed to maintaining the highest standard for emissions, but there's no one regulating them, again, because they're mobile units. There's no regulation. A mobile unit you would roll out like on a construction site for like maybe a year until they got grid tied, or a power plant has to be shut down for some type of crazy maintenance or a natural disaster. You don't, or backups, right? Backups. If it's something that's got to be running all the time and the grid may go down, backups. You don't put them in for like a permanent install like this, and that's why that loophole exists.
Going above and beyond the required emission control.
He immediately left after reading his script. It's extremely disrespectful.
It's time to start telling the truth. The truth is that XAI, who just ran up out of here, they have no controls that prevent air pollution or decrease air pollution in their factories. None. That's the truth.
Today, and regular power plants where I used to work, when they're out of compliance, they are charged by the minute, right? When they're a surge plant and they can't come online in time because startup issues, they're charged by the fucking minute. Not like, oh, we'll let them operate for a few years, figure out how many people got cancer, and then maybe we might do something.
Local and state authorities have taken no action against XAI. Running turbines without permits or pollution controls is also a violation of the Clean Air Act, which it's the EPA's job to enforce. But to date, the EPA has done nothing, and Elon Musk is doing what he can to keep it that way. Musk has helped the Trump administration place strict limits on the EPA's budget as part of President Trump's broader project to radically reshape the agency. Trump's EPA has begun what it calls the biggest deregulatory action in U.S.
I think those units are probably maybe around 15, 16 megawatt units.
History.
To fulfill President Trump's promise to unleash American energy and give power back to the states.
It eliminated the EPA's office that assists heavily polluted communities like South Memphis and canceled billions of dollars of funding for addressing pollution.
So like a 7FA, which is one of the most common GE gas turbines, frame 7FA is like 200 to 225 megawatts, somewhere around there. We just usually round it to 200 megawatts, right? We're talking about these, even though there's 35 of them, they're probably 15 megawatts. Usually you have 2 on 1, which would be like 2 7FAs, if he has 35 of them running, right? Usually you do 2 on 1, which is like you have 2 7FAs running they capture the heat and make this. The 7FA uses gas to spin the turbine to a generator to make power, and that makes 200 megawatts by itself. Okay, you take 2 of those, that's 400 megawatts. Okay, but you don't just shoot your exhaust gas out. You capture that in a Herzig. You capture that heat, and there's pipes that run in the heat chamber, right? And that makes steam, and you run a separate turbine from the waste. You run a steam turbine from the waste heat that is produced, and that's how they get really good efficiency numbers, right? If you're just running a gas turbine, you're making a lot of heat that just goes up in the sky. not to mention the pollution, but you're not using the heat. But if you run two of them side by side and a Herzig, heat, steam, recovery, generator, whatever, the Herzig captures the heat, makes steam, and runs a steam turbine basically for free. You're getting that steam for free because you're already running the gas turbines that make the heat, that make the steam. So the steam's basically free, but they're not doing any cogen here, right? They don't give a fuck.
Slashed already $22 billion in grants, but you use Doge, if I'm not mistaken, to take down your head count.
It's been great. The people working on the Doge mission are EPA employees.
The Teflon stuff's pretty bad. Microplastics.
What they provide to me are recommendations. I have found
Veritasium just did a big video on it.
That working with Elon and Doge has been fantastic, a big help to our efforts.
In March, the EPA announced plans to roll back over
as far as we know, he's still lying about how many he's running. And it seems like the local government is just like, well, you know, it's making money. We're proud to have them here. They're complying. They're just, I don't know, on the payroll, I guess.
30 air and water quality standards, including protections against fine particulate matter.
Great. The people working on the Doge mission are EPA employees. What they provide to me are recommendations. I have found that working with Elon and Doge has been fantastic, a big help to our efforts.
And he's reducing, the EPA doesn't do shit anymore.
In March, the EPA announced plans to roll back over 30 air and water quality standards, including protections against fine particulate matter. The new head...
They're rolling back 30 of these standards.
The agency describes promoting the AI industry as a core part of the EPA's mission.
It's about unleashing energy dominance, making America the AI capital of the world. And the EPA can't be restrictive of that. We can't be suffocating it.
Making America the world's AI capital means
I think that's one of the biggest reasons. I think that his Mars bullshit is a grift. AI is here. It's probably here to stay for a while. And there's such a startup cost, right? Imagine me and you and everybody in chat gets together and we want to put 200,000 GPUs processing power into an AI model. We can't do that, right? There's a gigantic hurdle. There's only going to be some companies that can do this. And it's a race, and Trump wants to keep it in America, and it probably needs to be some here in America, right? It's this huge race. He's got this personal vendetta against Sam Altman, OpenAI, already. There's just this huge startup cost. So he needs people to look the other way to where this is going to be his moneymaker, I think. And he needs people to look the other way. So he rolled back the EPA. He got a bunch of data he shouldn't have fucking had from the U.S. government to train his models. He's fucking over the people that live around him. This is his moneymaker, and he's just gonna make a shit ton of money with it. And everybody else is looking the other way. By the time the next administration comes in, he'll have made so much fucking money, it won't matter what regulation they put on him by then.
Prioritizing a massive expansion of data centers, and hundreds of them are now under construction.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
With Trump's EPA backing that effort, there may be little recourse for the communities downwind.
AI comes from a culture of Silicon Valley. That culture is go fast and break stuff. Break it.
A week after this hearing, XAI announced it would reduce the number of turbines it's running at Colossus over the next 2 months, but it's also dramatically expanding.
I'm happy to announce that XAI is
They're going from 100,000 GPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, to 200,000 GPUs. They're doubling their processing capacity. Do you really think they're going to stop? They're going to run less turbines now?
increasing their footprint.
It's building a second, larger data center.
Oh yeah, we've already started work on the next cluster. Yeah, about 5 times the power.
Where its construction permit application indicates it's considering using between 40 and 90 gas turbines and enough electricity to power 40% of Memphis.
So we're not like stopping here.
In February, during an XAI product launch, Elon Musk gave the closest thing.
I understand power plants have to exist, and they got to exist somewhere. Hell, I want nuclear power plants, and I know that's a real hot topic when you put them in somebody's backyard. Everybody can kind of agree to nuclear until you say, hey, we're building it down the road from you, and then they freak out, right? I understand they have to exist somewhere, but let's not roll back regulations on them, and let's fucking shut these goddamn loopholes, and damn sure make sure the richest fucking man in the world has to spend some money to goddamn comply. This isn't a guy that's barely getting by, and he's like, oh, well, if you put a few restrictions on me, I'll just collapse and die, pour in the street. It's the richest man in the world.
To a public explanation for what he's done in Memphis.
But we needed a building, so we found an Electrolux factory in Memphis. That's why it's in Memphis, home of Elvis. And also, I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt. Then we needed power, at least 120 megawatts at first, but the building, home of of Elvis. And also, I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt. Then we need.
He also thinks it was the capital of ancient Egypt. Is that what he just said?
Lux factory in Memphis. That's why it's in Memphis. Home of Elvis. And also, I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt. Then we needed power, at least 120 megawatts at first, but the building only had 15 megawatts. So we initially leased a whole bunch of generators. So we have generators on one side of the building, trailer after trailer of generators, until we get.
Surely he means like the name only, right? The name Memphis.
The utility power to come in.
He's not pulling a Ryan Upchurch, right?
It's not like, oh, we just magically made it happen. You have to break down the problem just like Brock does for reasoning.
XAI did not respond to questions for this report.
What's happening in Memphis?
We could literally have, so everybody complains about like there's not enough power, infrastructure, this, that, the other. There's not enough power for AI. And we know we probably want to be in the AI race, right? We don't want it controlled by China or Russia or somebody that could be our adversary either now or in the future. We could power everything with nuclear. You know what there's not that much waste. It's not like they're telling you that there's truckloads of this, blah blah blah. There's not that much waste. I've refueled nuclear stations before. I've done that in a power plant. Okay. The biggest concern with nuclear waste is that we don't know how to label it for potentially 10, 20, 30,000 years into the future. That's a legitimate concern. Like, we can seal it, we can bury it, we can put it somewhere, right, and check on it. But in 10,000 years, are the people going to speak the same language? Are they going to understand our signs and symbols that we do? Like, that's the issue. We could power everything.
That is Elon's vision.
Mr. President, all systems activated. Congratulations, Dr. Foreman. It's a marvelous achievement. Thank you.
A technocracy, to be able to do whatever he wants, whatever he chooses, to experiment, to kill, to destroy the environment at the behest of his machines. What that will amount to is a plantation economy for the rest of the world. A desolate wasteland of data centers is to follow.
Thanks so much for watching our video. If you'd like to see more stories like
it's such a concern that we don't know what 10,000 years in the future will look like. Scientists have considered, right, maybe in jest, making a religion around it. A religion around nuclear waste. Because it seems like religions are really good at holding certain traditions for long term. That's insane, right? Yes. Big oil does not, fossil fuels, they want people terrified of nuclear waste. Terrified. I forget whose video this stuff was in. To effectively communicate the danger of nuclear waste to future generations, a combination of durable markers, myths, rituals, and possibly even religious framework could be employed. The approach recognizes that simple labels might not be understood thousands of years in the future, so a more comprehensive, multifaceted system is needed. It's pretty wild, isn't it? That we might make a religion around it to warn people in the future. I think there's something like that in that. There's a show called like The 100 or something like that. Is that right? Where they like come back down from space because the Earth was radiated, and there's like a weird religion around it, right? Around the nuclear waste. It's weird that that's a concern, but oil companies will literally send in like incognito disruptors that'll come in and get a town scared about nuclear. Like they'll pretend to be your friends and family and just a neighbor down the road to scare people about nuclear because they know it's a fucking game ender for them power plant wise. It makes heat, it makes steam, it makes power, and it does it year after year after year after year after year. Then you refuel it. That's it. It's nowhere near as bad as people like to think it is. You guys want to laugh and point at a crazy person? Here we go.
I heard he like picks in his belly button and all kinds of shit. Digs in his
I
ass.
heard things too. I heard him.
You heard it too?
Bro, I've seen it with my own eyes.
Oh my god. What, in his belly button?
No, his butt crack.
What, just like fucking digs in it, sniffs it, or what's he do?
Bro, ask any
They're talking about the performer Jelly Roll.
producer in Nashville, and you'll know if they're lying, bro, because half of them will crack a smile. He'll stick his fingers down in his ass crack. He'll be typing on his phone, and he'll smell it and then lick it.
Shut the fuck up.
You gotta taste the essence. I swear on every song I ever wrote.
I heard he like picks in his belly button and all.
He's in this weird vendetta with Jelly Roll. I think mostly because of jealousy, right? Jelly Roll's made it big.
He's a shit. Digs in his ass.
Things too. I heard.
He digs in his ass and licks it.
With my own eyes.
Oh my god. What, in his belly button?
No, his butt.
Listen, we have a fan, and it's kind of an expensive fan. It's a couple $100 at least. A fan that I don't want to lose. That I got a mount for. It's like a floor fan. It's like one of those black all metal fans. I think I paid like $260 for it. It's a pretty heavy duty fan. And what we use it for is in the camper where we live, we got air conditioner at both ends, but we kind of need to circulate that through the main living area. And when we want our bedroom to be extra cold, like when we go to sleep, we push it back towards our bedroom and it circulates cold air, right? The fan quit the other day, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. Through some simple tests. It's not making a noise. It doesn't smell smoke. It doesn't smell like it burned up or nothing. I couldn't figure it out. So for a couple of days, it's been sitting on the floor, and I told Mariah I would check it out. I spent over a goddamn hour today trying to diagnose this. I took it apart, checked the wires, no burnt wires, took the fucking stator out, checked the windings, checked the motor, cleaned it out real good, made sure nothing was broken or burned or anything right there. Okay, made sure it's all good. Checked the capacitor, took the capacitor off, took the wires out, discharged the capacitor and checked it. It's good, right? It's reading, within plus minus 5% of what it's supposed to be. It's a 10,000 microfarads or whatever, or 10 microfarad capacitor. Checked the switch, took the switch apart and ran, make sure it was switching, made sure it had the right resistance, made sure when I put it on 3 that the power's coming out for 3, and when I put it on speed 1, the power's coming out 1. Got to mess around with it. Finally, I was like, what the hell is going on? Is the power coming through the cord? Right? There's not fucking power coming through the cord? So the cord, it's a long cord, right? Let's just draw it running around. It's a long cord. And then it goes to a plug, square plug, and it's got 2 blades. There's no ground, right? 2 plugs on it. So I hooked my meter to the end of the cord. Let's do red. Boop. Right. Meter here with the wire going back to the meter. And then the other cord to here to check for continuity. One side had continuity. Beep, 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 beep. The other side, nothing. No continuity, no resistance, no nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is there a break in the cord? So I check here, I check here, check here, check here, check here, check here. Just like keep shortening this 8-foot long cord, right? It's nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's dead all the way to the beginning of the cord? The first time I've ever seen it in my life. In this plug, okay, we've got a square box. And the blade of the plugs, right? Or the blades of the plug come out that plug into the wall, right? There is a secret door that's got a latch here that you have to open with a knife. And then a secret door pops out and comes out. And there's a goddamn fuse. The tiniest little fuse. The tiniest little motherfucker. It's about this long. What the fuck, dude? when they start putting tiny ass little fuses hid in plugs. There's a secret door to get to it. No, the Christmas light fuses are much bigger. What the fuck, dude? This is it. That's 2 of them. That guy's holding 2 of them. Look at that little motherfucker. I thought I had the measurements on here. It's 3.6 millimeters wide and 10 millimeters tall. It's literally this big. That's fucking tiny. Tiny as fuck. The Christmas light ones, or at least the Christmas light ones I have, is about twice this long. It's probably the same. Well, it actually might be a little bit bigger around, but they're about twice this fucking long. Insane. Had no fucking idea. Secret hidden door, secret fucking fuses. The fuck is going on? Pissed me the fuck off, dude. So now it's all taken apart. At least I got to clean it really good, I guess. But now I got to, I ordered some today from Amazon. And they're supposed to be on their way, and I got to put it all back together. Hopefully, in the right the right way. Some bitch start a fire. That's all I need. If the flood couldn't take everything from us, the last little bit's got to be taken by fire. Oh, well. Part of it. Court decisions.
A court decision you don't like.
So this is the administration doing a press release, and the journalist from the Independent asks a very, very good question. How come every time you get a court decision you don't agree with, you come out and scream, oh, it's crazy lunatic leftist judges that are taking over America. But when you get a court decision you do agree with, you come out and say, democracy's stronger than ever, and we knew we'd win, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Very weird.
Every time you get a court decision you don't like, you and your colleagues come out here and rail against rogue judges.
Who is this guy?
Dude, I shunt. I'll admit it. I shunt fuses all the goddamn time. In fact, I spent about 30 minutes cutting a piece of copper that replaced that fuse perfectly and jammed it down in that motherfucker. But my final thought was, I stream late at night, and a lot of times that fan's running and Mariah and the kids are asleep. And if that motherfucker caught on fire, I'd never fucking forgive myself. Never forgive myself. So I pried it back out and threw the piece of copper away. I can wait 2 days on a fuse. Anyways, here's the question from the reporter.
Every time you get a court decision you don't like, you and your colleagues come out here and rail against rogue judges.
Who is this guy? Tell me who you are, sir.
I'm Andrew Feinberg. I work for the Independent.
Okay, so that is such a biased question. That is not a journalist question.
Is that a biased question? Every time you get a court decision that you don't like, you come out here and rail against rogue judges. Is that a biased question, or is that just the truth?
Every time you get a court decision you don't like, you and your colleagues come out here and rail against rogue judges.
Who is this guy? Tell me who you are, sir.
I'm Andrew Feinberg. I work for the Independent.
Okay, so that is such a biased question. That is not a journalist question. That was like an op-ed, sir. So I don't even respond to that. Who else has got an intel? Yes, ma'am.
So they didn't answer the question. The statement was, every time you get I guess the only thing that's biased in that, or a matter of opinion, would be it's rulings you don't like. But that's exactly right? Every time it's a ruling that goes against something they want to do, so they don't like that ruling, they come out and say rogue judges are taking over America. But when they get a ruling that they're in favor with, or, somebody steps in and gives them, some type of bypass or order or something that supports the administration, they claim that that's democracy doing its job, and thank God for, it's only rogue judges when they're against you. Kind of weird.
I'm looking out for the country and for Harvard. I want Harvard to do well. I want Harvard to...
Trump shut down the Job Corps. I think that's bad. I've never used it. I know people that have. I've met people out on the road that have. It seems like nowadays it's like kids that are very high risk for like getting involved in crime and getting arrested and you know, the kind of kids that the neighborhood just kind of eats them up. They have no outlet. Their school sucks. They have no way out. They know they're either going to have to turn to the streets or deal drugs or rob somebody to eat or whatever. They live on campus. They get a job. They're trained in a position. And there were these heartbreaking videos. At least I think they were heartbreaking. Let's see if I can find them before we hear Trump talk. I can let you listen to him talk while I'm looking.
Be great again, probably, because how could it be great? How could it be great when you have Harvard announced 2 weeks ago that they are going to teach remedial mathematics? Remedial, meaning they're going to teach low-grade mathematics, like 2 + 2 is 4.
No, all colleges teach remedial courses. If you don't test high enough to bypass those courses, you have to take those remedial courses for a foundation. But they're not. It's not kindergarten math.
How did these people get into Harvard if they can't do basic mathematics?
Are you retarded? Every college has remedial courses, and you can test out of courses too, right?
How did they do it? I mean, people with 1,600 in their boards don't get in, and they're letting people in, and they're bragging about how they're teaching them basic mathematics. Where did these people come from? So we have to look at the list, and Harvard.
So you're so retarded that you think remedial means the basic premises of math. This is a plus sign.
Just understand, the last thing I want to do is hurt them. They're hurting themselves. They're fighting. You know, Columbia has been they were very, very bad what they've done. They're very anti-Semitic and lots of
claims they're getting their ass kicked in their ongoing feud.
Things, but they're working with us on finding a solution. And, you know, they're taking off that hot seat. But Harvard wants to fight. They want to show how smart they are, and they're getting their ass kicked.
Okay. Anyways, these were some really, really shitty videos.
They had us go to
they got no notice. They were told it's being shut down and pack all their shit and leave. Some of them don't even have families to go home to.
They had
homes.
Go to the wreck at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carlton Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
AmeriCorps got kind of fucked too, you're right.
The ones who are trying to get it right. That's why I'm so pissed.
These are not fugitives. They're not in fucking, they're not breaking laws. They're not doing it. Like, this is a good program. Why shut it down?
These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids.
There's people saying here, like, my brother went to Job Corps, and he was now been on his job for over 13 years. He's only 34. He will retire before me. Think about it. Job Corps taught and certified in trade careers. They're trying to discourage black youth from being involved in trade careers. Job Corps changed my life. This is absolutely horrible. Learned to be an electrician. I don't understand this level of cruelty. It's highly used by underprivileged communities, and a lot of times those underprivileged communities are people of color. But
kids who trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
They had us go to the wreck at about 1.
So the big news that
So older millennials got to sweep right quick, right? He's got to suck Trump's dick. Should have been shut down years ago. It's a failing program.
liberals are pissed about today is that Donald Trump is eliminating the Job Corps. Now, personally, I think this program should have been eliminated.
So even people in his comments saying, I went to Job Corps for masonry. I was directly hired doing $33 an hour job. It does work. It just matters the area. Bro, normally I love your content, but I'm one of the many people who went to Job Corps. I'm strongly against closing it. I went to Job Corps. Was the best thing I ever did at that point in my life. Bring back apprenticeships. That's what Job Corps was, you fucking retard. My son graduated Job Corps, and he makes about $70,000 a year. Job Corps does work. You just have to want to work. I work for Job Corps. It's a good program.
A long fucking time ago, but I'm sure TikTok is going to be filled with
and a lot of times it is kids that were that didn't kill somebody, but ended up in trouble in court and for a lower charge. But a judge is kind of seeing already, if I don't intervene in some way, they're probably going down a road that's going to lead to them locked up or dead. And they'll step in and give them an option. Like you can go to Job Corps or you can go do 30, 60, 90 days in jail. And a lot of kids end up there, but they still get trades and shit from it. It's a good program.
so many success stories from people who went through Job Corps. But as we all know, that bullshit's anecdotal. Let's look at the actual numbers when it comes to Job Corps. Job Corps' budget is around $2 billion a year. Last year, they went $140 million over budget, and this year they were projected to go $213 million over. So we got a program that costs around $2 billion a year. What do we get for it? Well, what we get is a program that graduates less than 40% of the people who attend. They average a 38.6% graduation rate. So that's roughly 3 to 4 out of every 10 students is actually able to graduate. But I'm sure those that do graduate are able to go on and be successful, make good money, and live.
Yeah, they are. But there are a lot of high-risk people that don't finish it. That's no reason to shut it the fuck down.
Good lives. No, the average annual earnings of a person who graduates the Job Corps program is $17,000 a year. We are spending $2 billion a year so that 3 out of every 10 people who attend the program can make $17,000 a year. That is a failed program, and it should have been defunded a long fucking time ago. So the big news that liberals are pissed about today is that Donald Trump is eliminating the Job Corps. Now, personally, I think this program should have been eliminated a long fucking time ago. But I'm sure TikTok is going to be filled with so many success stories from people who went through Job Corps. But as we all know, that bullshit's anecdotal. Let's look at the actual numbers when it comes to Job Corps. So Job Corps' budget is around $2 billion a year. Last year, they went $140 million.
Wait a second. He's lying. Participants earn an average of $16,695 a year on average. Participants. I think that's got to be why they're in. Or they're it's strayed for some other reason. The top 50 least efficient program averages. Average highest center cost. I don't know. I think it's a good it's helped a lot of fucking people. A lot of really, 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 really high risk people. If that's true, that it's a $16,000 per year annually, then after the post graduation, then something's got to be weighing that the fuck down. Like there's got to be a bunch of people that for some reason are earning zero or didn't go into that field or that trade. Something. I don't know. There's tons of people in his comments saying the exact opposite. Right? I went there, I did this, I did that. And then Trump is arguing to bring back trade schools. You're getting rid of Job Corps and saying bring back trade schools? Fly 100, Trump baby FPVs over parade. Make sure news get good footage. I hope something ruins his parade, to be honest with you. Like, I understand it's a military parade, and I don't want to see the military look like shit, but I hope something ruins it for Trump. Maybe he gets ran over by a tank on just his foot or something. I don't know. Something. Anyways. All right, guys, I'm out for the night. Lots of bad news, couple funny videos. It's hard to avoid all the bad news, to be honest with you. Consider supporting the show. That's how I pay the bills around here, and money is currently pretty tight. I did talk to my aunt, though. We are going to be able to take a vacation. My aunt's helping us out and letting us stay at her place, and I'm going to meet my sisters down there for a week, coming around the July 4th weekend. So looking forward to that. I'll still probably do content from my phone and hang out with you guys and do a show or whatever. But we are getting a kind of a free vacation as long as we pay for gas and stuff. So that'll be good. Thank you guys for joining us. Consider supporting the show, coldbeer.fund. You can use any of the links here. This is the easiest one down at the bottom. Use any of the links and then follow me on other social media platforms. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it, and I'll see everybody on the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to have a vacation this year. Like, money is fucking super tight right now. If something doesn't happen at the campground, I don't know what's going to happen. But my aunt just out of the blue invited me and my sister to come down at the same time at her little beach house. It's about 5 or 6 miles from the actual beach, but it's like a nice community. She's pretty well off, so we're going to get a vacation this year, which is awesome. Have a good night. We'll see you guys on the next one. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this.
Money's way too tight, but I feel like it feels like that for a lot of people, not just me. That's why I feel bad even asking for donations.
On this planet.
I would rather just my job come back and the VA fucking fix my disability.
You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
I feel like a shitbag. I feel like Bert over here.
It's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord and to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking...
What, guys, I want a prediction. What do you think the White House's response to Trump retweeting that Joe Biden was killed in 2020, right? That he was executed, put to death. What do you think they're going to say? Trump doesn't condone everything on the internet that he may or may not share, or it didn't happen. Fake news. What do you think? What do you think they're going to say? How are they going to defend that point?
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high.
They kind of pretended that the Gaza video wasn't even real. I know that there's a video that exists out there but you shared it. I know there was an AI video that someone put on the internet. Yeah, you did. You shared it on the internet.
And saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me oh my God. Damn it.
That is a good point. Somehow they'll blame Biden. Carolyn Levitt might say, look, we all know that Joe Biden is not mentally stable and not there, and it seems as if he's a different person. That something like that could work. Dead. She's been replaced by a clone.
You ain't seen none yet.
Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was.
And once again, neither Biden nor Obama, who both promised to shut down Gitmo, succeeded in that. So maybe Biden did go to Gitmo.
String and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit and bronze to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience.